We're going to simplify an expression using the rules for order of operations. This expression contains mixed numerals and fraction notation. The rules for order of operations state to do all operations within parentheses first, then evaluate all exponential expressions, then do all multiplications and divisions in order from left to right, and then do all additions and subtractions in order from left to right. So we'll start with the operation that is within parentheses. In the parentheses is 1/2 divided by 1/4. So we will perform the operation 1/2 divided by 1/4 first. We have 1 and 1/2 minus 1/2, and then 1/2 divided by 1/4 is the same as 1/2 times 4/1. Now that equals 1 and 1/2 minus 1/2 times, doing the multiplication, I have 1 times 4, or 4, over 2 times 1, or 2. Again, that's plus 1/2 squared. And I can simplify this further, and I have 1 and 1/2 minus 1/2, and this would be times 2 plus 1/2 squared. The next step that I'm going to do is to perform this, evaluate this exponential expression 1/2 squared. 1/2 squared is 1/2 times 1/2, or 1/4. So I can write 1 and 1/2 minus 1/2 times 2 plus 1/4. Now I no longer have any operations within parentheses. I no longer have any exponential expressions. So I move on to the next step, doing all multiplications and divisions in order from left to right. The only multiplication or division in this expression is this multiplication right here, 1/2 times 2. So I need to perform that next. I have 1 and 1/2 minus 1/2 times 2 would be 2 over 2, or 1, plus 1/4. Now all I have left is additions and subtractions. I perform them in order from left to right. First of all, I do 1 and 1/2 minus 1. That gives me 1/2. I'm left with plus 1/4. Finally, I need to add 1/2 plus 1/4. To do so, I get a common denominator of 4 and write 1/2 as 2/4 plus 1/4. And my solution then would be 2 plus 1 over 4, or 3/4. And that's the simplified form of that expression.